Welcome everybody to this webinar about BPM and RPA technologies complementarity. Just before we go deeper into our webinar, I just wanted to introduce myself. I am Delphine Qual. I've been working for Bonita for the last 6 years. And before being an evangelist and community manager at Bonita, I was working as a manager for the customer success department, and before that I've been working as project manager and quality manager. So BPM processes, everything is all I like, and the customer use cases also, and Bonita is the product I really like to work with. So that's why we are going to be together today. Let's start now. The objective of today is to show you the result of our partnership with UIPath and do a quick demo of the integration between BPM and RPA based on a real use case. So now let's start. First of all, as I am not sure about your knowledge about BPM and RPA and what is different from one to the other concept, I wanted to start with the comparison between both concepts. The fact is that most of organizations today are using digital transformation. They want to innovate, they want to improve, they want to get a chance to gain in proactivity, in traceability, to make sure that users are going to use to work on that process better, and to have a better job, to work well. So they start digitalizing to make life easier and to have also return on investment. And some people are saying that BPM and RPA are competitive, and that there is a competition between both. I am going to show you today that this is not the case. So if we start with BPM specificities, the fact is that business applications include business data that are global for the company, for a department, or specific user interfaces, APIs, security, automated tasks, and the business logic is fully represented by business processes that can be structured or not, and that focuses on strong and complex interactions with humans. So even if you will integrate lots of applications, the fact is that, and that's where you see here that we talk about empower people, you are going to use BPM to make sure that you empower the human. So when we talk about BPM, and that's a kind of concept, we say we empower innovation teams to drive digital business transformation by automating other tasks and by dealing with complex interactions and complex processes. If you talk about RPA, the specificities is that RPA will enable you to interact with systems very easily and through UI exclusively because there are no API. The fact is that with BPM you have APIs. When you don't have APIs, you can't communicate with those applications. That's where RPA is really valuable, because through UI they are going to interact with the systems and they are going to perform automated tasks that are repetitive. So, for example, they are going to deal with high volumes of data that are, or jobs or tasks that are repetitive and that are predictable. So that will give you the ability to automate specifically tasks and make sure that you are going to reduce cost, be scalable, and give yourself as a human time to innovate. If you have one or the other, how can you combine both? If we start with the BPM, you already have a BPM system implemented in your company. And what's going on if you add RPA to BPM? So RPA is going to handle through both repetitive and unhuman tasks, or that can be scalable. So it's very good for you, because then if you see that one task is human, is consuming a lot of time, but has no value for the employee or the agent, then adding this both will automate, will make it faster, will make it easy to extract data and then continue the process, will make it easier. So you are going to use it as well if you, and that's what I was saying before, want to automate the integration you would have with other systems that are not easily accessible via APIs. For example, you have legacy systems that are very old, but you can't upgrade them or change them because it's a huge project, so you keep them, but you need their data to be readable. RPA will be very useful there. So you will gain efficiency and accuracy. If you already have RPA in your organization, then if you add BPM, what's going on? You are going to add the workflow to the robotic repetitive task. So if you do that, you are going to manage the interactions with humans on a more easily way, thanks to customer-facing applications based on processes and workflows. So you are going to orchestrate the manual approvals, for example, the business rules, and the integration with other systems that can be integrated through connectors, APIs. So if you use both, you are going to have an end-to-end process orchestration, combining humans, robots, and systems working together. That's the goal of having the complementarity between BPM and RPA. We are not going to replace human. We are going to benefit from values from both systems to make sure that we can have an end-to-end digital automation. Now that said, let's talk about the partnership and why Bonita and UIPath are now working together and have a real technology partnership. We are today providing a native and bidirectional integration with Bonita and UIPath. How does that work? If we talk about Bonita quickly, you see that Bonita is a BPMS, so you are going to model your data, define your user interface, define your process with your tasks, the user that are going to do the task, and integrate it to those systems, as we said, which means that you are going to manage the customer-facing processes and applications. You are going to support structured but also unstructured business process execution and coordinate the work among everybody. The value of that, and where you can use it easily, it's when you have a digital automation to perform. You want to improve and be in a continuous improvement loop. If you want to create better end-to-end customer experiences, connecting all user interfaces and processes. When we talk about UIPath, as an RPA company, will automate the repetitive rules-based task that could be typically performed by humans on their computer, but that would take a lot of time. So as you can see here, you have in a system of UIPath, you have it will mimic the human actions thanks to recognition of the user interface. It will operate on any application, read and work on data in structured forms, and it can do mistakes because it will be identifying thanks to algorithm. So it's very quick and powerful to scale. The advantage, the value, is to automate high volume. It will be very easy to use if you have repeatable tasks. And if you want to involve one single user for multiple applications. Then you are going to let the employees focus on creative and customer-oriented tasks, which is complementary with BPM. And then you are going to make sure that what can be supported by bots will be supported by bots, and what has human value will be kept to humans. So this is a story, and this story started thanks to Miguel Valdez, our CEO, and Daniel Dines, the CEO and co-founder of UIPath. Actually, beginning of 2019, Miguel Valdez sent an email to Daniel telling him that he thought that this partnership between both society could be really meaningful. And why? Because Bonita wanted to really establish a strategy to make sure we could have end-to-end digital transformation. And the fact is that this end-to-end transformation would be facilitated by RPA. A lot of a lot of customers of Bonita were starting to think about RPA, and we were working with integrators such as Capgemini, for example, that were already working on this kind of complementarity and integration. That's why Miguel thought it would be very valuable to join and combine both technologies. And the fact is that Daniel answered to Miguel saying that he already knew Bonita and really he appreciated and thought it would make sense to have this kind of partnership. So starting May 2019, the official partnership has been starting. And there have been starting actions not only on marketing side, but also on the product. So in June 25th of 2018, UIPath and Bonita Soft announced officially the partnership to really have end-to-end automation and make, as they say, transform the customer business. But also, if we come back here, you see that in December 2019, we really implemented a fully integration with UiPath thanks to a technology change in the product. So now let's talk about that, because this is really important. You can have lots of partnerships, but having both products natively communicating together is really important. So if we talk about what they call the end-to-end digital customer experience, you see that you are going to design everything thanks to Bonita Studio, Bonita UI Designer, and UiPath Studio to make sure that you are going to have your processes here, your user interface available here, and the bots conception in UiPath Studio. When everything is ready and your project is implemented, the user will only see the apps. It won't see anything else, and he will have a totally integrated interface. But how it works behind that? This is an example of integration. In your Bonita Studio and your user interface, you are going to build your application based on your processes. This application is coming with a user interface that can be readable by UiPath bots, and also where the end user can manually add information. This information will go through Bonita Engine and also will be sent to external systems if needed. And then, thanks to the connectors that we are going to see just after, Bonita Engine is going to send information to UiPath orchestrator. This orchestrator is going to manage and orchestrate all the jobs to make sure that the UiPath bots are going to be run on an asynchronous way while the process is running, and then send back the information to Bonita to continue the process. So if I go deeper in the integration, what have we done from May 2018 until December 2018? On Bonita side, we have designed and integrated natively 3 connectors. Those connectors are going to launch UiPath workflows. The first one is going to start a UiPath job. And this one is compatible with inputs parameters of 2018.3 version of UiPath. A connector is going to add items to a UiPath queue, and a connector is going to get the status of a job. We also added a callback API to make sure that you can get on an asynchronous way the result of the job. On UiPath side, they added 3 activities in the UiPath marketplace. The first one is to send a BPM message. So you have a Bonita API call send message behind that. To start a BPM case, so the API call will be create case, so it will start a new instance. And to validate a manual task, so you can automate it thanks to the API call, execute user tasks. So you can also change the manual task of validation by a bot if needed. If we go a bit deeper on the way the callback API from UiPath to Bonita is running, you can see that here you have Bonita runtime with a connector execution that will launch the jobs. UiPath is running, and then thanks to the callback API and the activities in UiPath, the job, when it's executed, is going to send a message to Bonita, and Bonita is going to go on with the process. So now we are going to start the demo. Before we start the demo, I wanted to give you a bit of context because I want to illustrate that with a use case that based on the customer use case, but this use case is not the real one. We make it easier just for the demo purpose. So what is this use case? So we named it end-to-end loan management because a loan request is going to be done by a customer, and the banking agent is dealing with the request. So he has to get all the information and then check that that all the information is correct, and also check the credit level to make sure that this customer can perform the loan. How you can start a UiPath bot? They can be started from Bonita manually by the banking engine from a Bonita form, but also automatically from a process connector, and that's what we are going to demonstrate here. We could also imagine that first iteration is totally manually. Then we add bots started manually by the banking engine, and then we add bots that are going to be automatically started from the process connector in Bonita. So if I go to our studio, we have here the first process. So how does the process go? You have an open account. So the customer is going to open the account and do the credit request. So automatically, the application is going to ask for all documents required to be able to check the validity of the request. So he has to provide identification information, he has to upload the proof of domicile, and also give the task statement to validate the credit check. Then the banking agent is going to validate manually everything, and the connector is going to send an information to the mobile application to confirm that it is correct. So if we come back to the context and the business context, we see that our customer is going to do everything on this mobile app, open his account, do his request, as almost everybody does now. And the banking employee is going to use his web app to follow up on the call. Everything is based on, of course, the process. And this end-to-end loan management process is built, of course, with Bonita for the process and connection, and the UI designer for all the user interface. Then UIPath is going to connect to Bonita through the connectors we talked about before. How is it going to work before we go deeper in the demo? The first step will be to have calls between the review of the initial request and the validation of the credit check. For example, the robot is going to get all the information, is going to check also the solvability of the customer, and is going to send back information to say, okay, that's good or that's no good. Then the second step will be when the document will be signed, it can be sent automatically, and all the action can be performed by the robot to make sure that we send a confirmation email to the customer, then we transfer money, we launch the money payment. You don't need a human to be involved in those steps. So now back to our demo. You have seen the process. Now let me show you the user interface. That is my, I am the customer, and that's my web app interface. Then if I am the banking agent, I am going to use the banking interface and dashboard to make sure that I can follow up with all the requests. So as you can see, we already designed a first iteration of our process, designing all the steps. That's good, but now as developer, I think that some tasks could be automated. So I talk to my end user, to my business team, and I tell them, okay, really, I believe that we could validate the task statement automatically. And I had the solution. We could use both from UiPath because RPA is going to use all the information and to give it to our agent. And look, for any agent doing that for any case is very long. I can tell you that thanks to the robot, you are going to save a lot of time, and we are going to reduce the time we need for a loan request. Okay, so let's go. Let's start the second iteration of our project. First of all, I am going to change, oops, sorry. I think it's better like that. I'm going to change the task type. I'm going to use a service task because a service task is going to communicate directly with another system. So to be quicker, I changed that automatically here. So you can see that I changed all my tasks to service task. Now what I can do is add my connector. I won't do it here because I have already done it. I will do it here. I will add a connector here. I will use the robotic process automation connector type. and I want to start a job. I want to start a job to check the documents. So my name is check docs. The URL I am going to set will be an automated URL. So I have previously defined a parameter here to make sure that depending on the server, it will choose the right path. Then I will add my credentials, UiPath login here, my password, UiPath password, and then I go on. So now it's where we are going to set up the boat and the jobs. How can I do that? I need to get the process name. So now I am going to go to UiPath. As you can see here, I have previously defined activities in UiPath to define a robot. So here in my studio, I have added activities to my legacy bank credit check application. 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. Then I have an orchestrator, hop, and this orchestrator is ready with my process, legacy bank credit check. That's the process I am going to use to connect Bonita to UiPath. Okay? So I can use robot names if there is a specific strategy, or I go on. And here I will just add all the information I need to get. So for example, I need the contract, I need the proof of domicile. So I'm done. And I can do that on other tasks. When I am done, I want to get the information back from the robot. And to do it asynchronously, in order to make sure I won't stop all the process if I miss one information, I am going to use this catch message. As we said before, we have a callback API that is going to send a message. So that my message is docs check. Okay, and here, how can I know which is the right document? I will go back to my studio, and I can see at the end of all the activities I am going to do with the robot, because that is an automated activity, that is also an automated activity, I have a message sequence, for the Bonita scope. So here I don't have the document check, but I have credit check. And that's what I am adding here in this section. If you see here, I have credit check. But if I had added a message about dot check in UiPath, I would have added here a catch message dot check. Okay? So now everything is ready on my in my studio, and I can deploy my application. So I already deployed it just to make sure it would be faster. So now my application is deployed, and I am going to show you what's going on when I start my process. So I'm going to prepare everything because I want you to see the job running. Okay, I am a new customer. I am going to up on my accounts. Shamela, Jonah, Hampton, up here, Shamela at gmail.com, Shamela at gmail.com. And you will see that when I am going to upload all the documents and launch and I click on start, automatically it will go to the robot, and it will launch the robot. England. Okay, should be better now. Yes, it is. So I need my DNA. So where is it? I have a passport. I add it here. I need to add my proof of domicile. Where is it? It's here as a document. For example, if you were on your, I use a fake phone, but you know, if you were on your mobile, and that's why it's called capture and upload, you could capture it automatically using your phone camera, and it would upload it as well, and UiPath would recognize the picture and all the data on the picture to fill in the form and to make sure that you would have all the information required. So this is the right document. So as you can see, I submitted everything. You will see the robot filling in all fields. And look, you will see the date of birth, where I had not filled in the date of birth when I have started with the account information. So as you can see, UiPath has used the passport information to add the date of birth. So now everything is done and it's successful. I am going to receive the new request in the bank, and I will need to start reviewing everything. As you can see, it is added here. The state is started. If I open, I have 4 actions to do. One is required is to investigate the case. One is discretionary because you can do it if you want, is update the customer. I will investigate my case. I see the scoring is 91. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay. Everything is fine. Validated. Contract can be done. And I save. So here we are at the end of our demo. Because then I am not going to show you what we're going to do with this adaptive case management interface. But as you can see here, I have completed the action, so everything is okay with my task. So I hope everything was clear. I thank you very much for your attention, and now it's time for questions. Okay, we have a first question. When we decide to use both BPM and RPA, what would be the license policy? If you use Bonita and UIPath, you will have to use Bonita Enterprise Edition because these connectors are only available in Bonita Enterprise, and you are going to have a UiPath license as well to get the activities and the studio and orchestrator. I have another question here. How can you measure the return on investment if you add a robot? Oh, good question. Actually, on Bonita, it's more complex than by using UiPath because when you use BPM, everything is a process with human automated tasks, so it's not always easy to calculate the return on investment. But if you use UiPath, they have a monitoring interface in the studio, I think, I don't remember where you can see the time of the robot, where you can get information about the volume, and then you can compare with the time spent on your tasks before. If they are the manual task, if you already used a BPM process, you can use the API to get the information from the the engine, and then compare the robot's activity and to the BPM standard tasks. Then, if you want to have an end-to-end monitoring and be able to improve continuously and be very efficient, you can also use Bonita Improvement Continuous module, because then you will combine the robot monitoring and the robot activity to our process mining activities, so you can anticipate delays thanks to that. You can also monitor the activity you had on the archived cases before, and then you can more easily calculate and monitor your return on investment and the way your process is efficient. In the demo, also, when a user opens an account, why you need to log in Bonita app first. User doesn't have any ID password yet. Oh, sorry. It's just for demo purpose. Normally, when you are using Bonita and UIPath, everything is automated. Why? Because you are going to use authentication, for example, from your Active Directory, your LDAP. Bonita is going to get your user and password information, and then UiPath is going to connect and connect using identification as well. As you can see here with the connectors, when we use the connector, sorry, it's here, we use username, and here this username is not static, it's something dynamic. Thank you everybody for your attention. I hope this session was useful. Thank you very much, and have a good day or a nice evening, everybody. Bye bye.